Hey, yo, I'm on a roll, okay? I'm on a roll. I got some shit would need to be said, okay? Got something else. This is pertaining to families, but I'm going to use the examples of religion and spirituality. Why? Because people know religion to be controlling, right? It is a controlled type situation where, you know, you have to follow certain rules. There are restrictions, limitations, right? You do this, you don't do that type situation, right? And if you go against this, you know, these are the consequences as a result type situation, right? And with spirituality, it's more so, the first thing that comes to my mind is free spirit, right? Meaning, you know, you take the good and the bad and you work with them both, right? You be in your light side and you can be in your dark side, right? You work in both, right? Because not everybody is going to be 100% light all the time, and not everybody is going to be 100% dark all the time, right? There are balances, right? Sometimes some people can be too far on the dark side, right? And sometimes when you're too far on the dark side, you know how those situations usually end up, right? Not so good. And then sometimes, and when you're like 100% on the light side, to me that's like a child, right? Like 100% light is like, you know, the pure joy of a child, right? Just completely innocent, totally innocent, pure, right? And adults can actually be pure too. They can, right? It usually takes like healing. It usually takes you getting to know yourself really, really, really well, right? It usually takes you knowing how to be in your childlike energy, right? I'm in my childlike energy a lot, right? To the point where some people might think that I'm faking how I am, right? I've heard people say stuff like that before. Oh, she's not happy like that. Oh, she's smiling, or she's this, you know. Oh, she's just not. There's no way she's that bubbly and that joyous. I've been told that I've been bubbly ever since I was a baby, and the shit just won't go away. Okay. Now, no, I'm not 100% light all the time. I'm an adult. I have experiences. I see people for who they are. No, I'm not going to be 100% light, right? Especially when I have to be serious, right? But for the most part, yeah, I'm smiling. I'm positive. I'm happy. I'm bubbly. I make myself laugh. I am my own best friend. Do you hear me? Like Beyonce song, Me, Myself, and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. That's what I found out. And from now on, I'm going to be my own best friend. I'm my own best friend. I am. And it cracks me up. I do. I enjoy me. I date me. I enjoy me. Okay. So, with that being said, religion and spirituality. Families can use those things to control you, okay? I grew up in the church. I grew up as a church kid, right? I grew up going to church every Sunday. My grandmama did not play. All her grandkids, her kids, getting up Sunday morning. We getting dressed, we're going to church. And we even had to go to Bible study. I think it was Wednesdays, Thursdays. Child, we was in the church, is my point, okay? Grew up singing in the church, right? So all my life, right? Up until I left for college, I was in the church, child. So I will say that church can be good for structure, right? It can give kids structure, discipline, things like that. I'm not saying the church is a bad thing. We haven't been hearing a lot of great things about the church lately, but I'm definitely not saying that church is a bad thing. I grew up in a church, right? But again, the church, religion, it can be restrictive, right? Sometimes our families are the same way, right? And when you grow up in a family where you feel like no one can do any wrong, right? You feel like your grandmama can do no wrong. You feel like your mama can do no wrong. You feel like your daddy can do no wrong, right? That's the innocent thoughts of a child. That's the innocent eyes of a child. And when you grow into an adult, you can still have those innocent eyes of a child when you look at your parents, when you look at your grandparents, when you look at your aunt, your cousins, you know what I'm saying? You can still have those innocent eyes, which is why when family do things to hurt you, it can really, 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 really hurt. Because these are the people that you grew up around. These are the people that you've known all your life. These are the people that you love with everything in you, right? And you automatically assume that they love you the same, right? Until you can find out that some family members don't love you the same way that you love them. You can find out that there are family members that are jealous of you, that are envious of you, right? Your whole life, and you never knew, right? Over time, things can start coming out where it shows more and more and more, right? And it could be jealous and envious for a plethora of things, but you never knew, is my point. You know what I'm saying? You can have a controlling parent who wants to control every aspect of your life, right? And if you veer to the left or veer to the right, they want to smack you right back into position, right? Because no, that's not what I said do. I said do this, right? You have some parents that can love you with conditions, right? Meaning, I love you as long as you do this. I love you as long as you say that. I love you as long as I have the control, right? But if you veer out of those clutches of their control, oh baby, they want to punish you, they want to dim your light, they want to throw all kind of venom at you, and then when it gets to that point, you start looking at them like, well damn, all I'm doing is trying to redirect my life the way I want to redirect my life. And mind you, if you're an adult, you're really looking at them like, whoa, I'm sorry, I thought this was my life to live. You know, like the soap opera, One Life to Live, you only got one life to live. You're like, I thought this was my life to live, right? You've lived your life, you're still living your life, right? And did anybody ever direct you on how to live your life? Maybe. Maybe they had parents that were controlling too, and maybe that's where they learned it from, right? So maybe, you know, that's what they know and that's what they do. Maybe it's a conditioning thing that they don't know how to break from. Or maybe they just want to control you for whatever the reason they want to control you. Maybe you take care of them, right? Financially, right? And maybe they feel like if you go off and, you know, veer in a direction that they don't want you to go in, maybe that's going to take food out of their mouth or money out of their pocket, or it's going to make them uncomfortable in some kind of way, right? They like their life the way it is. They're comfortable with the way it is, and they don't want you veering off to the left or off to the right, throwing everything out of motion because they have put everything in place and they want you to just go with the show, with the program, okay? This is the schedule, right? This is the menu. This is what we doing. Boom, 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 right? And, you know, sometimes they can use the reasoning of, well, I got you this far, right? And, you know, I've gotten you this far and everything is this and everything is that. Maybe. But there were probably things in there that you didn't see as controlling or things that would hurt you later on down the line, right? Like I said, you have these innocent eyes. Even as an adult, when you get older, you have innocent eyes when you look at certain family members and even certain friends, sometimes even bosses, co-workers, right? Right? Sometimes there are some people that just can do no wrong in your eyes, and then you realize that it's not always like that, right? And then you start looking at them with these new eyes that you've never looked at them with before. And that's what they don't want you to do. They want you to continue to view them in the way that you've always viewed them. Because once you realize certain truths and your eye opens to certain things and you start viewing them in a certain way, that means you start creating boundaries, you start pulling back, and they don't want you to create boundaries, right? Because they want to be the ones that create the boundaries. They want to be the one to direct your life. But it's your life. So how do you want to live your life? You're going to live your life for other people that have already lived their life? Or are you going to live your life for you and be happy? Right? Can anybody relate? Comments, y'all?